Hey folks, Eric Prey, Focus Fishing Guide Service, out here with Phillip Stone. We are out on Bull Shoals today. It is February 3rd or 4th.
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. Supposed to get to 72, 75, 105, I don't know. It's supposed to be much hotter than it should be today. Beautiful day outside. But, you know, we've talked about how tough it is on Table Rock right now, so we ran over here to Bull Shoals. We're on the upper end. Launched at Tucker Hollow, and ran up a little bit right around Mincy, and we're just doing a little bit of fishing. Gonna fish a jig today. Jig bite's been pretty strong down here. Jig bite's always strong year round, so it's not like you can't catch them on a jig any other time, but with the weather pattern and everything else, we're fishing a jig. I'm throwing the Jewel Pro Spider jig 7/16, throwing it in bass whacker with a speed craw as a trailer. Phil's throwing a little bit different jig.
Yeah, I'm throwing the finesse jig 7/16 in the Table Rock Secret with speed craw trailer. A jig is our staple throughout the year anyway, and you know, you're not going to catch as many, but you can catch some quality fish fishing a jig. Especially right now, the water temp's 45, 46 degrees, and you know, that's an Ozarks favorite around here. So we'll see what we can go do.
Well, what we're really keying on today are these steeper banks, steeper with bigger rock. It seems like the bigger rock you've got, the better the bite is. Really, I feel like the fish want to use that rock as cover, whether it's to get out of the sun because it is a bright sunny day today, or just to ambush crawdads that are moving around. But you really want that. They want some deep water close by so they can back out, get into that deep water, and feel safe. But they'll move up shallower into this bigger rock. Secondary points, main lake, we've kind of, you know, we talked about last week how much water there's running through Table Rock. Well, they're running water through Bull Shoals, and we're doing a lot better going back into the creeks and hitting these secondary points. But it's got to have big rock, and most of the fish we're catching are at least 15, some of them are 20, even 25 feet deep out here on these steeper banks. Steeper points are important, but you know, we've caught them on banks and on points today, so it really doesn't seem to matter.
You know, the bite has been really, it's really lethargic. We've missed a lot of fish. You know, the water temperature's cold. They're not gonna be as active as they are in May or June. You know, and most of them we're picking up on it, and it feels spongy, or it feels like we're on a rock or something, and then all of a sudden we feel the head shake. So, you know, you've got to pay attention to your jig, to your line, everything that's going on. And it's easy this time of the year with as few bites as we've gotten, is you know, pay attention, because that next cast could be a fish. And I think with this warmer water, the days are like today, and this past weekend it got up in the 60s, and today it's supposed to get up in the 70s, low 70s. So it's going to make the crawdads and everything a little more active, and in turn make the fish active. They've got to eat.
You guys have probably noticed we're not casting right at the bank. We've pretty much determined these fish are out here off of the bank a little ways, anywhere from that 12 to 18 to 25 foot range. And you notice we're basically almost parallel on the bank in that range. It's more than a 45. We're not 45 in the banks. We're almost throwing parallel to the banks and trying to keep our bait in that strike zone as long as possible, because that's where the fish are. You know, we could be throwing at the bank, but the first 10, 15 foot of your retrieve, you got nothing. And then you're only in the strike zone for a few seconds. If you think about it and figure out where the fish are, how deep are they on the lake, and how deep are they on a specific type of bank, then key in on that type of bank and fish more parallel. You'll catch a lot more fish, not just on a jig, on just about anything you're going to throw. Once you know the depth they're in, concentrate on that depth, because if there's 2 or 3 fish in that, I'm going to bet the majority of the fish on the lake are going to be in that specific depth.
On a day like today, it's, you know, you're not going to get bit like you do in June or, you know, mid-May. So it's important, it's key to keep that bait in that strike zone a lot longer.
Retrieve is important. Retrieve speed is important. You get a lot of guys that'll be out there, oh God, it's cold, water's 45 degrees, it's so cold, I've got to work this jig so slow. It's got to be painfully slow. And there are days when you do have to fish a jig painfully slow, and for me to say painfully slow is saying a lot, because I fish slower than most people that you're going to meet. But let the fish tell you how fast you got to fish it. Let them tell you how fast. You know, we've caught several fish today, and we're not fishing painfully slow. We're moving the bait, we're banging it off of rocks, we're trying to get a reaction bite off of the rock, and every one of our bites seems to be, as we're pulling it off of a rock, it's falling and the fish is hitting it on the way down. And we're using both using 7/16 ounce jigs, which are basically a ½ ounce, so it falls fairly quick. That tells me these fish aren't that lethargic. They're not sitting on the bottom. You don't have to slowly crawl it. And also notice that we're not crawling it. We're hopping it. We're shaking it. We move the bait as we're doing it. If you just go out and drag it on the bottom, yeah, you're going to catch a few, but you're not getting their attention. They're not all stacked up in one spot, and you've got to get that fish's attention and get him to move to your bait to get bit this time of year.
That felt like a fish. Yep, there's a... Not too bad. Not too bad. Come here. Come here. Not bad at all. Nice largemouth. Jewel finesse jig, 7/16, right in the top of the mouth. These fish are really healthy looking this time of the year too. They have not a mark on them. Good fish. All right.
Oh shoot, there's one.
Oh.
That's a better one. Oh crap, that's a good one.
It is a good one.
Come here, girl. There we go. That's a little better one. Take 5 of those.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's pretty fish. Pretty fish.
That fish might be almost 5.
That's 4.5. All right, go tell. There you go, sweetheart.
Yeah, you can go play.
There you go. Nice, dude. Nice. Well, guys, we were out, I don't know, Phil, 2.5, 3 hours,
yeah.
Maybe 3.5 hours. Caught a nice little limit on a jig. If you notice, some of the keys that really are important this time of year, number one, look for those steeper banks with the big rock on them. That's really all of our better fish. That one real good one came off of, it was just busted up rock, fairly steep. We're keeping the boat in 25, 30 foot of water and working the jig all the way back. A couple of them, I mean, shoot, they were all the way out the boat before they hit it. So they can be any depth, but for the most part, they were between that 12, 15 foot to about 20 foot deep. And that's why we were paralleling. So those are the major keys I've got for today is, look for the bigger rock, look for transition areas where you've got the really big rock to smaller rock, and then parallel the bank. Once you figure out how deep those fish are, spend your time paralleling the bank.
Yeah, and it really is, we get so caught up this time of the year. The guys think, hey, we got to be out fishing deep water, and there's fish out there. Eric and I have been on guide trips this past week that it's painful to sit out and watch your graph, and you know, there are fish out there, but the ones that we're catching today are the active fish. They're taking advantage of the sunlight and the warmer weather. Now, these fish don't know that it's 70 degrees. They're still in 46-degree water, but you know, everything's a little bit more active. And the ones we were catching today weren't necessarily what we would call shallow. They're still out in that 18 to 20, 24 foot range, but they're active. And you know, you guys don't get hung up on, no, we got to go catch them deep, you know, because they're running water right now, and the shad are really pushed down to the bottom, and hey, when they're doing that, go take advantage of a good jig bite, and you know, have some fun. So that's all I've got, guys. Thanks for watching.
Guys, thanks for watching. We're going to be trying to do a few more of these this year than we did the last couple of years. Try to get you some more pattern specific stuff and more time sensitive stuff, because you know, right now talking to guys, and Table Rock's tough. It's going to be and it'll probably be tough till we get this water situation squared away and they quit running so much water. Guys, if you're in the Branson, Springfield area, come on over to Bull Shoals. Like I said, we launched at Tucker. There's plenty of ramps over here. Make your way down, and like I told a buddy of mine who went out yesterday, everything's going to look good, and most of it is. So Bull Shoals is a great place to fish and get a couple of jewel jigs and go out and catch them. Till we do the next one, thanks for watching. Guy and put my sunglasses on like you.
Yeah, you should.
So they don't believe us. Liars in their sunglasses.
Wearing sunglasses.
They must be lying.